Hello, USA Fibroid Centers. I am live with Shay Johnson Takeover. We're doing it the Shay way, of course. As I stated before, I've been talking to my team, my friends, my associates, and we've been going over fibroids. I like to kind of put people on in the moment, and this is what I did to HQ. He's seen me talking to a few people about fibroids, but let's get real here. Have you ever heard of fibroids?
I've heard it in conversation, but I don't know nothing about it.
You don't know anything about it. And your wife has how many kids?
3 kids.
And you have no idea if she's ever had fibroids. The reason I'm saying that is because fibroids, not thyroids. People get thyroids and fibroids misconstrued. That is two different situations. Today we are talking about fibroids with an F.
Fibroids.
Yes.
Put that down, write it down, and take a picture. Fibroids.
Yes.
I said thyroid.
No, it's not thyroids, it's fibroids. And the reason I asked about your wife is because fibroids happen to at least 80% of all African American women. Did you know that? And your wife is African American, so there's most likely a chance that she could have had fibroids. The fibroids are benign tumors that grow in your uterus. You're very familiar with a woman and what her reproductive system and what she goes through because you've been through that whole process 3 times with your children. And not one time she's ever mentioned fibroids to you. I won't be surprised if your wife ever had it and just didn't mention it to you because it's very common for women not to talk about it. The reason they don't talk about it is because of the symptoms that come behind fibroids. Heavy menstrual cycles, which mine lasted 20 days every month. And you would know that's not normal. How do you feel about that if your wife was to have a menstrual cycle that lasted?
Sounds scary.
It is because you lose a lot of blood. You become highly anemic like I was, and I had to actually have blood transfusions because my hemoglobin was all the way off. But it's heavy menstrual cycles, back pain, pelvic pain, constant urinations because these tumors, you can have 1, 55, however many depending on your body. But it was pressing against my bladder, so I was using the bathroom at least 3 times an hour. So imagine that, waking up in the middle of the night, not wanting to go anywhere or anything like that.
Yeah.
Do you think now that I'm telling you the symptoms that you've ever recognized that with her or with anybody? Well, it's good to know because say if you recognize that with a cousin, a sister, your wife, it's not saying, she still can get fibroids. So what I try to do is speak up and speak out on fibroids, is to try to give you a little education on the symptoms behind fibroids and your options you have to remove them. I work for USA Fibroid Centers, and they have several facilities that are set up around the U.S. to remove them, and they use a procedure called UFE. It's uterine fibroid embolization. Say that. Uterine fibroid embolization.
I'm about to sound retarded.
No, you're not.
Say it one time.
Uterine fibroid embolization.
Embolization.
That's right. Just say UFE.
UFE.
That's right.
I got it.
So if you know someone that's going through fibroids at all, like I said, let's go over the symptoms again. Heavy menstrual cycles, constant urination, back pain, pelvic pain, clots. Honestly, this happened to me. It was blood clots coming out the sides of my palm. When you hear the symptoms,
The size of your palm?
yes, I had clots coming out the sides of my palm. And this is why women don't like to talk about it because of the reaction from men. We need you to have more of a support and say, you know what, it's okay, whatever's going on with you. If you think my story is bad, we have a lot of people that do the same thing I do. They're spokespeople for USA Fibroid Centers, and their symptoms were 10 times worse than mine. There's an individual that is an ambassador for USA Fibroid Centers, and I know that she has been trying to have a child for years. She doesn't have any children, and she can't because she's had so many surgeries with fibroids. It's preventing her from having children. So imagine if you're not in a position to have kids and the doctors took that option away from you, trying to save your life at the same time. But with UFE, it's non-surgical. But it doesn't cost that much. That's why a lot of doctors don't offer it. They rather slice you.
Because they get paid more.
And at the end of the day, money does what? Make the world go round. That's kind of what, and I didn't understand that perspective at one point, that money rules the world. But in this situation, money does, that's what people go, that's what the doctors go off of. In the medical world, yeah, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They charge about $5 to get in the ambulance.
And that's it's ridiculous. And I wish I would have known of USC because I didn't know that option. But I allowed them to cut me open, so I have a permanent scar. And if I decide to have children like your wife did, she had 3, shout out to her. If I ever decide to have children, I have to have a cesarean.
So you learned about it after your procedure?
Yeah, I learned about UFE after I had my myomectomy, after they cut me open. And that's when I was introduced to USA Fibroid Centers. But I'm just here to make sure women don't make the same mistake that I did. You know, I used to not be able to talk about it, but I'm a G now. I speak up and I speak out. I speak at different events, women empowerment events, USA Fibroid events. And the more that I talk about my story, I noticed the easier it became to speak on it. So I'm glad I was able to speak with you. Do you feel like you were informed?
Definitely, because I didn't know that it was so drastic. Like,
yeah, it is.
It's a lot.
With a lot of women, they'll have them and they'll pass right through. Fibroids also causes miscarriages. So some women are having miscarriages and they're unaware it's because of fibroids. So it's time to talk about it and try to get to that core issue. And USA Fibroid Centers is here to help with that. So I'm glad I informed you. Definitely. How do you feel?
Scared.
Don't feel scared.
I'm scared for all y'all women. It sounds like y'all go through a lot, you know. Like,
yeah.
That's just too much for me. I'm glad I'm a man. We don't go through those type of things.
But if your wife had it, it's almost like you're going through it with her because she will need that support system from you. It's nothing that you want her to hide. So even if you feel she's never had it before, it may be good to just talk about it. Like, you know, if you ever feel uncomfortable, I learned about fibroids today. If you ever have any symptoms, let me know. I'm here for you. Because just having, your mental health is everything, okay? And when I had fibroids, I pulled away from my family, my friends. I stopped dating. It was almost as if I became depressed. And we don't want that to happen. So you have girls, right? 2 girls?
I got 1 girl.
1 girl. When she gets a certain age, I think it'll be good to have this conversation with her mother and her father.
Definitely.
Just so she's aware of the symptoms, just in case she might have them, you know? But don't be scared. She should have had this conversation already. Because I know actually a few teenagers who reached out to me on Instagram via DM, and they said that they stated that they have the symptoms. So, you know, I'm glad to be that person to share my story, speak up and speak out on fibroids, and just bring more recognition towards the pandemic I feel that we're having, because I do feel like fibroids is a pandemic. So, shout out to you for talking to me.
I got 1 question though. Is it mostly black women or it's just all women?
This is all women, period, but it's more highly in African American women. 80% of all African American women will have some type of fibroids. It might not be as bad as mine or the other ambassadors I work with, but they will have some type of fibroid sometime in their life. But this happens to every culture, white, black, Chinese, Korean. It doesn't matter what culture you do. This happens to women. And the doctors don't know why. You know,
so I definitely learned something new today that I did not know nothing about.
You're gonna talk to your wife and your daughter?
Of course. I'm gonna have to look it up because I'm not gonna remember all this information you just dropped. So,
well, go to USA Fibroid Centers on Instagram. This is where this will be. But it's good to do your own research so you can have that knowledge on your own.
Definitely, I'm gonna definitely do some research on it so I have some more knowledge about it.
All right. Thank you for talking to me, HQ. I'm glad I was able to give you a little of my story. And I really hope you talk to your wife and your daughter and educate them on fibroids, okay? Definitely. My video entrepreneurs been informed.
Thank you for the information.
Bye, y'all.